When you think about global trade, it seems pretty straightforward, right? One country makes something, another country buys it. Easy. But what if I told you that behind that simple purchase, there's this hidden world of power plays, invisible rules, and, well, high stakes strategy? These rules are quietly deciding what you can buy, how much it costs, and even whether the factory in your town stays open. Today, we're going to pull back that curtain and look at the secret mechanics of global trade. So, to see how this all works in the real world, let's start with something we all get: movies. Because honestly, when it comes to global influence, nothing packs a punch quite like a Hollywood blockbuster.
I mean, just think about a franchise like The Lord of the Rings. It raked in almost $3 billion across the globe. This wasn't just a movie, it was a massive cultural event, an export from the US to the entire planet. So you'd think, with a product that popular, every single country would be rolling out the red carpet, right?
But here's where it gets weird. A lot of governments actively try to block or limit products exactly like this one from ever reaching their shores. It seems totally backward, but it happens all the time. So, what on earth is going on here? To really understand why a country might just say no thanks to a $1 billion blockbuster, we have to dig into the three main reasons governments mess with what we think of as free trade. First up, it's pure politics. I mean, think about it. Nothing gets a politician in trouble faster than people losing their jobs. So when cheap imports threaten local industries, you can bet the government is going to step in. But it goes deeper. They use trade as a tool, or even a weapon, to guard national security, to retaliate against other countries, or to gain a bit of influence over their neighbors. Second, it's all about economic strategy. There's this idea of protecting infant industries. You shield a brand new local industry from the big global giants, kind of like protecting a tiny seedling in a storm until it's strong enough to stand on its own. Or a government might play favorites, giving a boost to one of its own companies to help it get a jump on the competition and dominate a new global market. And third, and this brings us right back to Hollywood, is all about culture. A lot of countries are genuinely worried that their own unique identity, their language, their art, is just going to get washed away in a tidal wave of American movies and music. So they put up walls to protect their own culture from what they see as an invasion. And if you want a perfect example of this, just look at France. The French government is so protective of its language that it has literally passed laws banning English words like popcorn and brainstorming from being used in official communications. It's a very real attempt to draw a line in the sand against the overwhelming influence of English-speaking culture. Okay, so a government has its reasons: political, economic, or cultural. But what can it actually do about it? Well, let's open up the official trade policy toolkit. Honestly, the easiest way to think about this whole thing is like you're driving a car. Every government has a gas pedal to help its own companies sell more stuff abroad, and they have a brake to slow down all the stuff coming in from other countries. And they are constantly working both of them to steer their economy. So let's take a look inside that toolkit. For the gas pedal, to promote their own stuff, governments use things like subsidies and special financing. And to hit the brakes on foreign goods, they use tools you've probably heard of, like tariffs, which are basically taxes, and quotas, which are just hard limits. The most common brake you're going to see is a tariff. It's really just a fancy word for a tax that gets slapped on a product when it comes into the country. The goal is super simple: make the foreign product more expensive so that the stuff made right here at home looks like a better deal. Now, a quota is a totally different animal. It's not a tax, it's a hard limit. A government might just say, that's it, we're only allowing 1 million tons of foreign steel into the country this year. Full stop. That immediately limits the supply, which, you guessed it, helps the local steel companies and almost always makes prices go up for everybody. All right, now let's hit the gas pedal. A subsidy is basically the government giving its own companies a helping hand. We're talking cash payments, tax breaks, super cheap loans, anything to lower their costs. The idea is that with this help, they can sell their stuff cheaper than foreign companies, or just invest more in getting bigger and better. And sometimes governments get really creative, and they combine these tools. This is what's called a tariff quota. So a country might say, okay, the first 1,000 tons of this product can come into the country with a nice low 10% tax. But the second you hit 1,001 tons, bam, the tax on any more of that product skyrockets to 80%, basically slamming the door shut. So with all these countries hitting the gas and slamming on the brakes with their own mix of tariffs and quotas, you can imagine things could get, well, pretty messy. To stop everything from spiraling into all-out trade wars, the world decided it needed a referee. And believe me, this system didn't just appear overnight. Back in 1930, a huge American tariff kicked off a global trade war that actually made the Great Depression even worse. After that disaster, nations realized they needed some rules. Their first try was an agreement called GATT, but by 1995, they upgraded to a much more powerful referee, the World Trade Organization, or the WTO. And this time, it had real power to enforce the rule. A big part of the WTO's job is to settle disputes. And one of the nastiest tactics it deals with is called dumping. This is when a company floods a foreign market with products that are priced ridiculously low, sometimes even cheaper than what it costs to make them. It's a predatory move designed to kill off all the local competition. The WTO has rules to investigate this and lets countries fight back.
Okay, so we've got this super complex global system with national interests, a whole toolkit of protectionist policies, and an international referee trying to keep it all in check. But what does any of this actually have to do with your daily life?
Well, here's the bottom line for you and me. While all these restrictions might succeed in protecting some local jobs, that protection almost always has a price tag, and we're the ones who pay it. Tariffs and quotas usually mean higher prices and fewer options for you at the store. It's a classic trade-off. The benefits of protecting one industry are often spread out as costs to everyone else.
And that leaves us with this huge central question. On one hand, free trade can bring us lower prices and more variety, which is great for us as shoppers. But on the other hand, protectionism can be a powerful way to save jobs and protect a nation's unique culture. So where's the perfect balance? Honestly, that is one of the toughest questions in the entire global economy, and you can be sure there's no easy answer.